Every Friday, the team at Local Waste gives us an opportunity to blow off a little steam. It's a tradition, our favorite one here on the show, one that we call Trash Talk. Buckle up. Trisha chiming in says, I've had it with people who have no gratitude. Trisha says, I gave a very nice gift to a friend who was returning to the office after working from home. They received the gift, said nothing, and went about their business. That wasn't just ungrateful, it was thoughtless, mean-spirited, and stupid. Trisha says, honestly, if you don't know how to say something as simple as thank you, what are you even doing? That from Trisha. Kendall wrote in to say, I've got a buddy, well, a guy I know, a first responder who's helping right now organize a demonstration called Frontline for Freedom. He's fighting against masks. He's fighting against COVID measures. This is one of the guys responding to 911 calls for people who can't breathe. I shouldn't be surprised. The same guy's been espousing Trump garbage, PPC garbage, conspiracy garbage, all kinds of garbage for years now. He's a total disgrace. I don't know who needs to hear this, says Kendall, but deep dives on YouTube and Facebook don't count as medical school. Jackass. That from Kendall. That's a nice fit after that Seth interview, isn't it? James wrote in to say, I made a point of watching the federal leaders debate last night. This was supposed to inform me. There was very little information in this debacle. Felt more like a game show where contestants are trying nothing more than landing witty comebacks and smart-assed remarks. It was 5 people talking over each other, not letting each other finish. Oh, and 5 people on the stage? Come on. He says, I wanted to be informed. I wanted my son to be informed. All that happened is that, here it is, I now need a new TV set because I got so pissed off at the BS coming out that I threw my mug through the screen. Thanks for nothing. That from James. This one from Colin, who wrote in to say, Premier Jason Kenney's refusal to adopt a vaccine mandate and his decision to provide payments to the unvaccinated is a betrayal of every Albertan who spent the last 18 months doing the right thing. Your continued determination, Premier, to appease the small proportion of Albertans who make up your base at the expense and detriment of everybody else makes you unfit for office. It's time to resign. That from Colin. And this one from Kathy, who asks if she gets extra credit for only integrating a couple of swears. I said, well, Kathy, you go, girl. That is my advance notice that it's time for earmuffs for the kids. Kathy says, I live in a province. The government's got so little value for human life. They value rodeos over businesses. Over the last 18 months, healthcare workers have been crying because of staff shortages. And in turn, the government's tearing up contracts. The health minister threatening people. The government threatening layoffs and pay cuts before bringing in outside non-union workers to fill gaps at a higher rate of pay. A government who's always late, who blatantly lies, who calls the media fearmongers, who will not face mainstream questions but announce things through Facebook Live, a government who cancels nurses' vacations but disappears, every member of their caucus silent when the premier's gone for a month, no consultation, changing legislation. A government who pays for those that are the problem versus rewarding those that have done everything asked of them. A government that leads by saying, don't do as I do as I say. Aloha Gate. A government who threw out years of work on curriculum, replacing it with racist, inappropriate content that children should never see. A government, if they could and was given enough time, would likely take away rights like universal health care. Maybe take away a woman's right to vote. The homophobia, you'd think we're living in the 50s. A government that's taken on the values and ideologies of President Trump and his cronies. Kathy says, I was born here. I've lived here my entire life. I've raised my family here. I've worked 35 years for the government of Alberta, and I've never seen such a bunch of assholes unfit for governing. For the first time in my life, says Kathy, I just donated to a political party. I've drawn up demonstration signs, and when called upon, I will stand up alongside my fellow Albertans who've had enough. Fuck this, says Kathy. This entire caucus needs to crawl back into their caves. Kathy, I hope you feel better. You can send us your trash talk anytime, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day to our email inbox talk@ryanjesperson.com. A cathartic exercise if ever there was one. Make it a great weekend, friends. We'll see you tomorrow at the tailgate party. Details pinned at the top of my Twitter. Coming up next week, a former Rebel Media staffer tells us how how he was radicalized. We'll talk to Afghan citizens who made it safely to Canada and to the Canadian that got them here. And a week from today, our Real Talk Roundtable next Friday with the strategists. We'll talk to you soon, Real Talkers. Make it a great weekend.